So, Bigpod,
What?
just to let you know, I have a 3D printer currently sitting on pause, but it keeps wanting to turn the fans back on, so our audio listeners might be hearing some fan noises, unfortunately, again.
Oh, great.
Yep. But, we're recording this at a very, very tight window, so there's reasons as to why the 3D printer is currently running when, normally I have it stopped on recording day. We'll get to that at a later time. But in the meantime, we need to play some music so our audience can, be entertained and realize that, hey, we're starting a show. Hey guys, welcome to No Tux Loud. I'm your host Josh today, and I'm wearing my beautiful white t-shirt today. And Bigpod, you're here and you can see the future.
Yeah.
At least that's what the shirt says. So, Bigpod, we've got some pretty big topics here today. But I just want to let everybody know that yesterday I went to Ohio Linux Fest. And we're probably going to be talking a little bit about that in another episode, simply because, there's a lot to talk about here today, at least, that we want to talk about. So, we got some processing and some figurings as what we're going to be doing about that topic specifically. So you'll get some information out of that. In the meantime, I'm just going to leave like a link to their YouTube channel in the show notes, so our audience can go watch the stream. There were some very interesting talks there.
And at least one mention of Joshua Lee, so
a few.
Be on the lookout for that.
A few, actually. Yeah, because I asked questions.
Of course.
So, Bigpod, we have super amazing news for consumers today.
Very amazing.
Yeah, so amazing because Micron decided they're going to quit selling to consumers.
Yeah, it's not exactly that, but close to that. So Micron is one of the three Western producers of RAM. There is, I believe, one in China, but that's about it. So under Western, we count like those that aren't in China or Russia, really. Everything else we count as Western producers. So those who predominantly sell to the West, essentially. Well, you also have an option for SK Hynix, which is South Korean, I believe, and of course Samsung, which is also South Korean.
Yeah.
So yeah, but and Micron is American, so that's that. But Micron had a division under it called Crucial. That was their consumer. That was their own first party brand for RAM. They build those black squares on your RAM sticks. The black squares. That's what Micron, Samsung, and SK Hynix built.
Yeah, the actual memory modules and
Yes.
that you see on the system. So
And then Crucial would package them onto the sticks and sell you the sticks. That's kind of the division of labor there. Well, they decided to close down at least the consumer part of Crucial, which is bad, I guess. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, if you wanted to buy, if let's say you're a big company, let's say you are, I don't know, Valve, I don't know, Microsoft, Apple,
or even just like any kind of PC integrator.
Kingston, not really PC integrator. I'm talking about those who buy those who buy RAM packages, the actual modules.
Oh,
not
okay.
the sticks.
Yeah.
Those guys will still probably be able to buy them. We don't know at what price, but they'll be able to buy them because they didn't say they're going out of the DDR5 market. They just said they're closing the consumer part of Crucial. We're not sure whether they're closing down their enterprise part of Crucial, because Crucial also sold memory for servers. But they did say that they are mostly focusing on
HBM.
on other things like
Yeah.
HBM. So, Josh, do you know what HBM is?
So HBM is a type of random access memory. So it's like a memory stick, but it's more focused for like processing large volumes of data, basically meaning that it's perfect for AI.
HBM is essentially DDR5, but at really wide bandwidth.
Yeah, basically what the DDR5 that we were kind of advertised as DDR5.
Yeah. Well, so the world of RAM packages, the actual modules, the black stuff, is split in essentially in DDR, GDR, GDDR, and HBM. HBM is mostly found in like business workstation cards, accelerators like NVIDIA's A100 or what H100 I believe it's now.
Something like
in
that.
Stuff is AI cards and workstation cards like the high power workstation cards. GDDR is found in graphics cards. That's why it's called GDDR. Graphics DDR, I believe it's what actually first meant to be. GDDR can also be found in things like consoles because, well, they use one set of RAM chips and they use
Yep.
just GDDR, while DDR is mostly found on actual RAM for actual usage of actual system random access memory. In past, we actually saw HBM. They're probably mostly going to be building HBM2, the second generation, on Intel CPUs because they're on the server lineup of Intel CPUs where you could have 64 gigabytes of HBM on chip, and that's actually a big part that you need to have it on chip, not on a RAM stick or something like that. Well, and HBM is really sold for things like graphics cards, accelerators.
So HBM is more similar to like GDDR in this case, where it's directly on
Yes.
the die of the
Yes.
processing chip. So
Yeah.
think about stuff like say your video memory, or
Yeah.
something like that. Even though GDDR is its own thing.
Technically speaking, in the world of like memory, it is video memory because in most cases it is used on what are essentially graphics cards.
Yeah.
In past, we found on consumer graphics cards, I believe AMD had a lineup of HBM equipped consumer graphics cards, but most of the time we find it on what used to be called Quadros and what used to be called Teslas. Now they're the big NVIDIA AI cards like H100 and stuff like that. That's where you can find the actual HBM memory. So that's why they're focusing on HBM memory because that's what gets sold in huge quantities to NVIDIA, which then gets sold to data centers around the world. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah, and it's not just NVIDIA that's also selling these chips too, even though they are like the number one. Because Intel's business units, their graphics cards do see some sales as well, including AMD. So
Yeah.
even though NVIDIA is like the monster in the market, simply because they always have been, so they always will be. This demand that's coming just from like these AI companies like Claude, OpenAI, even Google with their Gemini project and Olama. OpenAI alone literally just bought like 40% of all available chips. So
All available market, yes.
yeah, so the demand is insane, and I'm not surprised to see Micron, focus all their production to these HBM chips, simply
Yeah.
because they need to be able to like meet the demand at some point.
Yeah.
And
And it's interesting that their actual like revenue just on HBM alone came up to $2 billion in August quarter. So that would be annualized to $8 billion.
yeah, so what we're seeing here is not necessarily like Micron being scummy at all. It makes perfect sense for Micron to do this. The issue
Yes.
is that we literally allowed a triopoly to exist.
Yeah, there are only 3 large memory suppliers in the world. Even the Chinese manufacturer I did mention, they have basically no bearing on the world
They've got
at
no
large,
bearing on
because
the world simply because tariffs, or maybe their chips just suck.
also they are so small that even if they were willing, even if there were things, there were no barriers to selling to Western world, they wouldn't make a dent on the market because of how entrenched Micron, SK Hynix, and Samsung are.
Yeah, so realistically, it mostly sucks for us consumers that want to buy like laptops and desktop systems, right?
Yeah.
Because we want to be able to run these systems and have memory that we can just buy. Uh, but at the same time, desktop and laptop sales have gone down. Uh,
Yeah,
don't
but
don't bo-
remember,
don't bother.
phones
Yeah,
also use DDR,
yeah,
and
they do.
so does SSD.
But the phone market has even stagnated too.
Yeah.
With like the number one cited reasoning as to why people aren't buying new phones simply because there's no exciting features.
Why
Which
buy a new phone?
yeah, there's no point. Like the reason why I bought a new phone was simply because my security updates quit coming in.
Yeah.
So, which hey, that's perfectly reasonable. Or like say my phone's not good anymore because there's no features that I want to buy out of a phone because heaven forbid if I buy a phone, what's the incoming feature of like the latest Google Pixel phone, Bigpod? It's all AI, 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 AI,
Yeah.
AI. And it's like I don't care for that. I have the Gemini app that's forced installed on my phone because it's a Pixel 7. And you know what? That's all the AI I realistically want to interact with.
Another problem here that isn't actually talked about enough is the storage aspect. SSDs.
Yeah, that's a market that I'm surprised it's taken so long for it to actually start encountering issues with all this too. Because
It encountered issues at the same time RAM did. Just people aren't talking as much about it for some reason. Let's remember the same line that builds, or nearly the same line that builds the DDR chips, also builds NAND chips.
yeah, it's very similar technology. It's not the same technology. It's similar enough that the
Similar
same
enough.
that the same companies that make the RAM chips also make the NAND chips. That said,
Yes.
there are a couple more places that actually make NAND chips too. So
Yeah.
it's not just Micron, SK Hynix, and Samsung. There's a couple others as well, but I love. I've always bought Crucial SSDs because then I know that I know exactly who I'm buying from. I'm buying from Micron, which very respected company in the market. Samsung
Well,
has released a
well,
lot of SSDs with issues, and
Yeah.
I've never bought anything from SK Hynix. Now that I think about it.
But remember, at the end of the day, the biggest producers of NAND are still Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron.
Yeah, and Samsung has its own consumer interest as well
Yeah.
because they have their
Yeah.
own line of products.
Yeah. Uh, and those three are like 70% of the market, I believe, if I read that correctly. So, yeah.
Yeah, so honestly, like the one company that probably gets affected the most by this from like the aspect of the consumers of the three, it's probably gonna be SK Hynix because uh now it's on it's on SK Hynix realistically to match the production or the demand that is
Yeah.
now being increased from the consumer market because Samsung wants to make their own chips for their phones and their own laptops. I don't think that they make desktops anymore, but I believe that
No.
they still have a line of laptops.
Yeah. But remember, Samsung, like, we should remember that Crucial was the only actual company or actual division of the big three that was actually first party producer of RAM sticks.
That too. Yeah.
So they were a bit of a price setter because, well, they had a lowest they had the highest margin of them all.
Yeah, those
means-
chips went through less hands to get to you.
Also that, but remember, now even if right now Micron decides to just abandon DDR5 because there is so much demand on HBM, both Samsung and and HK Hynix will have to fill in the demand, fill in the hole. But another problem that I heard of, I don't have a source for that, is that there are also not enough silicon wafers.
Yeah, there is the silicon wafer shortage, and that's becoming a problem as well. So, hopefully we can like figure out what we're doing here before too long, because I don't think that's a raw material issue. I think it's really just I think
Production issue.
Yeah, I think it's just them running into production issues, especially from like TSMC, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
So
But before we continue, I have a bit of an addition to our Steam Watch segment.
Okay. So cue the Steam logo popping up on the screen with like the big loud classic Steam sound, because that is public use.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be a short one.
Oh, okay.
I am very sad to say that my prediction of price has gone up.
Oh, okay.
I think due to Micron stepping out of the consumer space, the actual price even of the actual NAND actual RAM packages, DDR5 and GDDR5 DDR6 RAM packages will increase. And it is my opinion now that it wouldn't be surprising if we saw the price hit more than $1,000 per Steam machine.
Which basically is like that could be an issue with that is a price that's high enough that it might actually impact sales.
Yes.
Which
that it will impact sales quite a bit. Yeah. So it might not happen. Again, maybe the contracts were already made, which would be the greatest thing ever. But this to go further beyond just Steam, I think this will impact the price of every console from now on. The next console, which the talks are in 2027, we're gonna have the next generation of Xbox and PlayStation. I think we can talk about 25% increase on all of those.
Yeah, which that kind of
we're talking 700 for minimum for any console anyway.
Yeah,
in next generation.
Hopefully you got plenty of time to go through your game backlog, because heaven forbid, those new consoles, they're not going to be cheap. But anyways, let's move on here, because Anthropic has bought Bun.
So Josh, what is Anthropic?
Anthropic is the name of a company that makes Anthropic AI, or the Anthropic AI division, which runs Claude.
Yes. So we're talking about AI company.
Yeah, AI company. Yeah. So, Claude is advertised by Anthropic as the world's smartest and most capable AI model for developers, startups, and enterprises. That's what they claim. Take it with a grain of salt, because all AI is terrible in its own special, unique way. So, they have decided that, since they've reached $1 billion in revenue, whether that's actually through, like, sales or, just investments, they have decided that they're going to purchase Bun, which is a JavaScript runtime, to further accelerate Claude's code. Now, I am not entirely familiar with JavaScript, so Bigpod, I know that you know a little bit about it. What exactly is Bun, and what is like the big benefits of Bun versus like Node.js and React?
So this has nothing to do with React. React can run on top of Bun. Or React server part can run on Bun. So basically, Bun is a replacement for Node.js. Node.js is a runtime. Basically, think of it like JVM, Java Virtual Machine, the Java
Okay.
runtime, or think of it like, I don't know, whatever high level language that has a, like, you have to install a runtime to run it. That's what Node.js is in the world of JavaScript. And in the case of Bun is a replacement for Node.js. So the big selling point of Bun is it is highly optimized and supposedly a lot faster than actual Node.js. And that's why but it's actually mostly not written in JavaScript, which is kind of interesting. And it is actually more than just a runtime. It's also a bundler, so it can make your code into one big bundle. It is a test runner and a package manager.
Yeah. So, if you're curious as to what Bun is written in, I found their GitHub, and GitHub reports that is 60% Zig. You know,
Yeah.
for the hipsters out there that love Zig, and it's got like 25% C++ just for those people. But anyways, that does give Bun some benefits of being written in those lower level languages. It has more direct access to like the
Yeah.
CPU instruction set, so it doesn't have to go through an interpreter at all. So that does actually increase its performance quite a bit in some cases. That said, JavaScript is surprisingly fast for as high a level as it actually is in general.
Yes
So
and no.
yeah, in
It all
some
depends on what you're doing
yeah.
and how much you're doing it. If you're doing one or two iterations of it at the same time, sure. More than that, it fails
I mean,
miserably.
it runs down to like the same fault issues that like Python runs into in some cases. So, it's impressive what we've been able to accomplish with JavaScript in general. That said, it's probably not always going to be like the best thing for you to ever be running, because heaven forbid, I still don't think that
It
JavaScript.
rarely is.
Yeah, I still don't think that JavaScript should be used on the server. Yeah, that just keep that crap in the web server, please.
Neither do I. Remember how it came to be. It was supposed to be a proof of concept.
Yeah. So, anyways, the big thing with Bun is that a lot of AI companies actually do seem to be making use of it, simply because of its performance. And with Anthropic buying into this, they're basically like buying into the underpinnings of a lot of these companies too, because I believe ChatGPT actually does use a lot of make use of Bun quite a bit in just their web interface.
Yeah, which probably the runtime running behind their website.
Yeah, and of course it's not just AI companies either. That's Netflix, Spotify, Salesforce, and a couple other brands I personally don't care to name. So, so this gives them quite a bit of staying power at this point, Bigpod.
Yeah, but at the same time, we're talking about AI company that among is Anthropic, which have been burning money for not a lot of reward, honestly.
Yeah, I'm still one of these days I need to like read through like it the end of year stock reports for these companies just for this year is going to be very interesting to like read if you're actually capable of reading that, because it's a very boring document with a lot of numbers. But I'm curious to see if these companies actually posted anything close to a profit.
Based on what I know, no.
Yeah.
Like, interesting thing, like the reason they actually want this is because of this tiny piece of their offering called Cloud Code, which is essentially a CLI to talk with Claude servers so it edits your code locally. It's a stupid thing. I don't understand why people use that. And Cloud Code, the CLI program, is written in JavaScript.
Of course.
Why? Their competitor, OpenAI, far as I remember, they actually decided to rewrite it in Rust. It was also written in JavaScript or TypeScript or one of those JavaScript-like languages. And interestingly, the only such runtime, such program to interact with AI that isn't actually open source is Cloud Code.
Yeah. Now, of course, with them being not open source, Anthropic has come out and say that Bun will continue to remain open source and MIT licensed.
Yeah.
But just like everybody else that buys these open source projects have said. So
yeah, I'm not very.
We'll take that with the grain of salt. We'll take that with the grain of salt that we normally do.
Yeah, but I think in this case it will stay open source for a very simple reason. It's a language runtime.
Yeah.
Languages are open source by default these days. And
I mean,
if it's not open source, you're basically non-existent.
Heaven forbid, if they attempt to close source Bun, it's just going to get forked. Let's be honest, because we've seen this happen so many times. Like I literally watched a talk called the Open Source Rug Pull yesterday.
Yeah.
It reminded me of so much. It's like the MongoDB licensing controversy that happened that immediately got it forked, and now I think MongoDB is basically all but dead.
Well, it isn't that, and I think the only one that wasn't forked out of those was actually MongoDB.
Well, I think they announced the relicensing. It got forked into a fork that would immediately gain more traction than MongoDB, and then I think
MongoDB didn't. No, MongoDB didn't get forked. That you're thinking of OpenSearch.
Oh, right. OpenSearch. Yeah.
MongoDB never got. MongoDB was first of such, and it never got relicensed. It never got forked, but also lost all the traction, and it's only used by some companies and nobody else.
Yeah.
But they are apparently profitable.
Surprisingly.
While there were other cases like Elasticsearch closing their source code and then got basically immediately open sourced, immediately forked by Amazon, who then gave the OpenSearch to Linux Foundation. And same thing happened to Redis, as we reported on earlier in our show, an earlier episode, many episodes ago. And same thing happened with many of the HashiCorp products, like Terraform, like Vault. So it is not actually that unlikely that something like this would get forked. And more importantly, the people who actually fork these projects actually are willing to maintain it, unlike most forks in desktop space. So if Bun will get forked, we're in the world where these kind of forks actually survive the server space.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think that's realistically all we can really talk about Bun, because we got another big issue to talk. It's time for us to once again
talk about something that can run on top of Bun.
Yeah, something that can run on top of Bun, but realistically, it's just us pretending to be a security podcast. So, we have a new...
Take it away, Josh.
Yeah, we have a newfound CVE with a score of 10. It's a 10.0 critical security vulnerability, making use of React.js and Next.js. Because, it is JavaScript yet again. This one being called React to Shell. Now, Bigpod, you might actually know a little bit more about this than I do. Just because, I've only read like 3 articles on this, and, the CVE, the react2shell.com website. So, but as far as I can tell...
I'm not sure I know at least stuff that I'm willing to say.
Yeah. So, uh, anyways,
So take it away, Josh.
so as far as I've been able to determine, this was this was disclosed by let's see, Versal and what was the other company here? Meta. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Vercel.
Yeah, Vercel. Okay, my bad. And it was also reported by the Shadow Server Internet Watchdog group as well, where they found an HTTP request can be sent to servers to exploit this flaw. So it is a remote code execution, and a specific response was checked to confirm whether a device is actually vulnerable. At which, as soon as they get the return of vulnerability, they can then execute a secondary HTTP request to gain shell access to the system.
Fun.
Yeah. Now, the Bleeping Computer article is the one that does describe this mostly the best. It doesn't really give you any code that you can use to exploit, unfortunately. But it does tell you that if you're on a Windows system that's running, any JavaScript runtime, there's a couple PowerShell commands to tell you if you're exploitable. Yeah. So the general recommendation, of course, is as usual, patch your crap, because React has already fixed it, as well as Next.js, because this was responsibly disclosed.
Yeah, Meta already wrote the fixes for their framework, React.
Yeah.
Yep. For those who do not know, React is made and maintained primarily by Meta, who created it.
Yeah. So
years ago.
Which I'm glad that people that they haven't done like anything super scary with like React, because as far as I know, Meta's been wanting to make more money lately. I'm glad that they're leaving it alone and that they're messing around with Llama. But
realistically, React has grown so much they couldn't even do that. It would get forked and that would be it. Like, I'm not joking. That's what would happen. And since we're talking about the world of server software and world of cloud native computing, these people actually follow up on their forks, not just languish them like most desktop folks are normally used to.
That said, according to Shadow Server, they have detected 77,000 IP addresses that are vulnerable to this shell. 23,000 of which are in just the United States, and of course, it's already been linked to China, because we can't really figure out who to blame other than China for these things. So,
well, there are some other to blame.
Yeah. There's usually more people to blame, but they link China, so obviously all the news aggregators are blaming China and making it a state level actor, because some guy in their basement can't just simply be smart enough to do this on their own.
Yeah, you require some more than just a little bit of persistence and force to actually get something like
that
this
said,
done.
they have detected that malware already exists that makes use of this exploit as well. One tool of which is called Snowite, another one called VShell. So when you're scanning, so if you're ever running a malware scan on your system and you see those, probably a good idea to get that fixed.
Yeah. And let's remember, React's been nowadays used for so many things, including web pages, including Electron apps. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Bigpod, we have an event coming up here in, I think, a couple weeks at this point now, right?
Yeah.
So, on December 26th, we are going to be recording a live episode of the show, of which, hey, if you go to our YouTube channel of youtube.com/@NoTuxAllowed, you can watch us live and maybe even participate in the show.
We will also be on Twitch with twitch.com/notaxalout, I believe.
I believe so.
I could be wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have it linked in the show notes.
Yeah.
So, we hope to see you there. In the meantime, if you would like to support our production, you go to patreon.com/notuxallowed. Give us a couple dollars there. If you get that, you will gain access to a special RSS feed that we cater just for you. It has a slightly higher audio quality because, heaven forbid, there's people that care about that kind of thing. You also get bonus content, which might even include full episodes of interviews that I've recorded from Ohio Linux Fest.
We're gonna see.
Yeah, we'll find out. But in the meantime, Bigpod, if our listeners want to communicate with us, there's two places that they can go.
Yeah. First place would be their email client, where they can send an email to contact@tuxbase.com.
Oh.
And we're gonna answer.
Well, yeah,
we
obviously.
don't get many emails, but we'll be very happy for any kind of volume, even extreme volume.
Yep. Of course, if you want to talk with each other, you can go to tuxbase.com/discord, where you can join the official Tuxbase Discord and chat with everybody there too. Heaven forbid.
Yep.
Bigpod and I, we talk on a private chat channel in that Discord server all the time. All the time. Most of the time, not about the show. Surprisingly. Surprisingly, often we don't talk about the show. Instead, we talk about all kinds of other things.
Yeah.
So, anyways, guys, if you would like to find us individually, we have our own YouTube channels that you can see showing up on your screen now if you're watching the video, or you can find in the show notes, as well as contact links for our Fediverse accounts, of which I'm actually going to have mine fixed for this week, because I just looked at it and realized that's still pointing to Mastodon, even though I'm not a Mastodon anymore.
Really?
Yeah. Yep, I just looked at the show notes and saw that, and I'm like, oh, I should probably fix that. But anyways, guys, we'll see you. I'm out of here. I've got some D&D to run today.
Okay. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.